When you're ready. All right. So, ever since I was a young kid, I've always been interested in computers. Building them, writing code, or helping other people fix their devices. And every day, we all have some effect, or it has an effect on us, the devices that we own. We either have one at home hooked to the wall, or we have a computer right now in our pockets, running our everyday lives. Now, every day I kind of wonder, or at least when I try and write my own code, how long can this go on? How many more times will I build another PC? How many more times will I buy another phone until the one I have becomes optimal and there's no way going forward? This is basically the speculation behind Moore's Law. It's the idea created by Gordon E. Moore back in 1965, CEO of Intel at the time, that every 2 years our central processing units, the very component that runs our computers, will double in effectiveness every 2 years. Now the problem with trying to double the effectiveness of a CPU, a computer, keep in mind thanks to the John von Neumann architecture as he reported on back in 1945, we cannot have a computer without a CPU. It is a vital component. It runs every single process that a computer must perform. You can have a CPU run just a computer itself, but you cannot have a computer without a CPU. This becomes a problem when we introduce ourselves to nanotechnology. Now, what a CPU is comprised of is an old device known as a transistor. All the transistor does is hold electricity. It's an on-off switch, a little light switch. It either holds information or it doesn't, and this takes the form of bits in the CPU, either a 0 or a 1. And this breaks down into the code that runs all of our processes today. Now, the problem with shrinking the size of these transistors, we're fitting approximately 30 billion of these things inside just a small 1-inch chip, breaks down to the NARD scaling, in which while the transistor is getting smaller, it's consuming less electricity, it's becoming more power efficient. The problem is that we're applying the same voltage to the same square inch unit. So we're applying massive amounts of electricity to a very small object. And this leads into an issue today known as quantum tunneling. Quantum tunneling, I like to refer my research from Masalam Ravi and quantum theory of tunneling. He researched back in 2003 that the electrons are going through these metal components, like these metal transistors, inside the CPUs and completely destroying them. And there is no way to work around it. They're completely blasting through our units, and we're unable to break down the code that we are trying to process. So trying to make our CPUs smaller, trying to make our CPUs more power efficient, better, is soon going to be impossible. And this is where the idea of Moore's Law comes to an end. What I'd like to show you right here is a picture from IBM. It is currently the smallest transistor on the planet Earth, approximately 7 nanometers in length from here to here. Now the problem I mentioned earlier on Moore's Law, as we're sending electrons through here, it is completely destroying this entire infrastructure. To compare the sizes of these things, 7 nanometers across, I know that's a weird number to comprehend. Here's that size compared to the width of a DNA strand, which is approximately 2 nanometers in width. Keep in mind, an oxygen atom is only 0.15 nanometers in width. So we are dealing with an issue on improving our technology on the atomic scale. And as far as we are concerned, there is probably no way to work around this. There's a lot of theories, but that delves into speculation, of which I'm not going to go into today. I'm simply presenting the concept that soon, and soon as in the next 10 years, the computers that you own, the cell phones in your pocket, will soon reach the best and the peak of their capability. Now, I don't know what will happen next. I cannot predict that. But what I do know is that whatever comes after Moore's Law, whatever comes after redefining what creates a computer, the CPU architecture, will completely revolutionize how we think and how we use our devices today. And I am looking forward to that future and what it will mean to programming and human society.